Solar installations are booming, and most of the actual electrical work, the inverter hookups, the disconnect switches, the interconnection to the utility grid, that's electrician work. If you're not familiar with the solar side of the trade, it's worth getting up to speed. Hey, welcome to Hardwired Trades. Today we're talking solar, specifically what electricians need to know about solar panel hookups. This is increasingly relevant work, especially in California, Texas, Florida, and other states where solar adoption is running hot. Let's get into it. The electrician's role in solar. Solar installations typically involve multiple trades and contractors. The solar company or general contractor handles the roof work, mounting the panels, running the DC wiring and conduit down from the roof. But the electrical side, connecting the inverter, installing the disconnect, tying into the main panel, and handling the utility interconnection, that's typically electrician work. Some solar companies have their own electricians in-house, others sub it out, and homeowners or small businesses sometimes hire an electrician directly for the electrical portion of a solar install. All three are opportunities for you. The electrical portion of a residential solar install is typically worth $1,500 to $4,000, depending on complexity. That's for work that often runs 1 to 2 days for an experienced electrician. On a day where the solar crew handles the panels and you handle the electrical, that's solid revenue with relatively clean scope. Understanding the basic solar system. Before you can wire it, you need to understand how it works. A grid-tied solar system, the most common type, has these main components. Solar panels, modules, generate DC, direct current, electricity from sunlight. They're wired in series and/or parallel to create a solar array. Inverter converts DC from the panels into AC, alternating current that the home can use and the grid can accept. This is the heart of the system electrically speaking. String inverters, one central inverter for the whole array. Simpler, lower cost, but the whole system output is affected if one panel underperforms, shading, debris. Microinverters, individual inverters on each panel. Enphase is the dominant brand. Each panel performs independently. More installation points, but better performance in partial shading. Power optimizers plus central inverter. Optimizers on each panel with a central inverter. SolarEdge is the common brand. A middle ground between string and micro. AC disconnect, a lockable disconnect switch installed between the inverter and the panel, required by code so the utility can shut down the system during maintenance. This is often the first thing an inspector checks for. Main service panel, where the solar system connects to the home's electrical system, may require a solar-ready breaker, a backfed breaker, or a load center upgrade, depending on the panel size and age. Utility meter interconnection. The utility has to approve and connect the system. This involves an interconnection agreement and usually a new meter or meter socket upgrade. Key code requirements, NE 690. Solar systems are governed by NEC Article 690. Key requirements, rapid shutdown, required in most jurisdictions. The system must be able to be shut down within certain parameters for firefighter safety. Microinverters and power optimizers with module-level rapid shutdown are often the solution. This became a significant requirement with the 2017 NEC and has tightened further since. Know your jurisdiction's adoption. DC disconnects, required near the panels and at the inverter location. AC disconnect, within sight of the inverter, lockable. Backfed breaker rule. In a standard panel, if you're backfeeding from solar, the breaker size plus the main breaker can't exceed 120% of the panel's busbar rating. This is the 120% rule, and it determines whether a panel needs to be upgraded or replaced. Labeling. Solar systems require specific labels at the disconnect, panel, and meter locations. There are required warning labels on service equipment indicating solar is present and the system is energized from 2 sources. Inspectors look for these specifically. Know NEC 690. That's your reference for this work. The panel upgrade reality. A lot of residential solar jobs hit a snag at the panel. Older 100A or 150A panels often can't accommodate a solar backfed breaker without violating the 120% rule. Example, a 200A panel with a 200A main breaker has a 200A busbar, usually 120% of 240A. Main breaker 200A plus solar breaker 40A equals to 40A. That works, just barely. A 100-amp panel with a 100A main breaker, 120% A, 120A. You can only add a 20A solar breaker. That's not enough for most solar systems. Panel upgrade required. Be ready to identify this in your assessment and price it into the quote. A panel upgrade combined with a solar interconnect is a legitimate $3,000 to $5,000 plus job. Don't treat it as a complication, treat it as an opportunity. The customer needs both done, and you're the person doing it. Permitting and utility approval. Solar work almost always requires a permit, and not just a standard electrical permit. Most jurisdictions have a separate solar or PV permit with a specific plan set requirement. You'll typically need to provide a site plan, single-line diagram, and equipment specifications. The utility also has to approve the interconnection. This is separate from the building permit. It involves submitting an interconnection application and waiting for approval. The timeline varies by utility. Some are fast, some take weeks. Pacific Gas and Electric in California, for example, has been notoriously slow on interconnections. Florida Power and Light is generally faster. Know your local utility's process. Don't let the customer pressure you into energizing before you have both the permit final and utility approval. That's a real liability issue. Energizing before final inspection voids your permit and creates personal liability for anything that goes wrong. Getting certified NACEP, the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, offers solar certifications that are recognized industry-wide. While you don't need a NABCEP certification to do solar electrical work, your electrician's license covers the work. Having it adds credibility and can open doors with solar companies and commercial clients. Getting listed as a preferred installer with Enphase or SolarEdge also drives inbound referrals. Homeowners who buy those systems often look for certified installers through the manufacturer's directory. It costs time, but not much money to get listed, and it's a free marketing channel. Solar work is a legitimate growth area for electricians, and the fundamentals aren't beyond anyone who already understands the trade. Get familiar with NEC 690, understand the system components, and you'll be able to price and execute this work confidently. Subscribe to Hardwired Trades for more content like this, and drop a comment with any solar questions you've got from the field. Battery storage, the next wave. Solar plus battery storage is becoming the standard for new residential solar installations in California and is growing rapidly in other states. Homeowners want backup power, not just energy offset. That means battery storage systems like the Tesla Powerwall, Enphase IQ battery, or LG Chem Resu are increasingly part of the electrical scope. Battery storage systems require dedicated inverters, safety disconnects, automatic transfer switch functionality, and compliance with Article 706 of the NEC, Energy Storage Systems. If you're doing solar electrical work and you're not comfortable with battery storage, start learning it now. It's the direction the market is heading, and the margin on battery storage installation is often better than the solar panel interconnection itself. Growing into commercial solar resident. IL solar is a great entry point, but commercial solar is where the bigger projects are. Commercial installations, rooftop systems on warehouses, ground mounts on commercial property, carport solar structures in parking lots are larger in scope and higher in revenue. A commercial solar project might involve 100 to 500 kilowatts of panels, three-phase interconnection, complex permitting with the utility, and coordinating with structural engineers for the mounting system. The electrical scope alone on a 200 kilowatt commercial system might be $40,000 to $80,000. The path to commercial solar work is similar to any commercial work. Subcontract on a few projects to build experience and references, get familiar with the utility interconnection process for commercial systems, and build relationships with solar developers who regularly need qualified electrical subs. The market is significant and growing.